Hello there. In this video, I'm going to show you guys just the basic steps to set up the file for the first project. Um, so basically, you'll be setting up a file here. So I'm just starting here on Canvas here. So this first step, build a project template. Build project template 1 to the specifications indicated on this template. So you want to download this file right here from Canvas. So this is one of the first steps here for our project. So I'm just going to click that and download that file. So it pops up down here, and I'm just going to drag this to my desktop. So it might be some download to a downloads file if you're on Windows, but either way, just locate where this file is. So I'm then going to go here to Illustrator. So I have a couple projects open, but I want to make a new one. So I'm going to go File, New, and we want our project to be 8.5 by 11 inches. Okay. So luckily that one is already set up here because that's the size I usually use. If it's not here already, you can go to Print, and it's this one called Letter right here. So Print up here on the top to Letter. And right here it says points. Again, I always change that to inches to make sure. You'll need just one artboard for this project, and having a vertical orientation is good. Alright, so that will be the right size. It's 8.5 by 11. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just move my window over and drop this template in there, and just kind of have that next to my work as I get this ready. So this just tells you the basic sizes here. So the boxes need to be 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches. It needs to be 1.5 inches from the top, 1.5 inches from the left side, and a 1/2 inch in between each box, and 12-point Arial font. So to get those boxes, or actually I'll show you how to get them the correct size. So Illustrator has a really nice feature here called guides. And to get those guides, that will basically help us to place all those boxes in the correct location. So to get your guides, you're going to, first you want to display some rulers. So I'm going to go to View, Rulers, Show Rulers. You can also use Command R as that shortcut. So when I do that, these little rulers pop up along the top. And I always just double check, make sure these are inches, because what you select when you first create your document should be how these are measured. So this is 0 to 8.5 here, or 8.5 right here, so that should be good. And what you can do with these rulers is drag some guides off of them. So I'm going to click right here on my ruler, click, hold, and then drag down. And then I get a nice little guide there. So what this does, these guides can be put in there, but they will not print. They won't appear when you save the file as a different file type, but it's nice to use to line stuff up. So I want this to be, how far? 1.5 inches from the top. So I'm going to look over here and make sure this is 1.5 inches. So here's 1 inch, just looking right here where this touches. Move this down to 1.5 right there. Now I want another one, 1.5 inches right here. So I'm going to click on this ruler on the left and drag this over. So there's 1 inch, and there's 1.5. Again, just looking right up here. All right, so now I know this is going to help me a lot. My first box is going to go right here. So I want this first box to be 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches. So if you remember, to get that box that exact size, I just click once. Rather than clicking and dragging, I'm just going to single click once. Boom. And this brings up the option box, and I can put 2.5 by 2.5 right there. Okay. Now I will switch to my selection tool here, and I will drag this up. Oh, my box is invisible though. So if I look on this, remember down here, it will indicate the characteristics of this box. So it has no fill and no stroke. So in order to get this back to the default, which is a black stroke and white fill, I'm going to click this box, these two boxes right here, default, fill, and stroke. So now, there it is. So I'm just going to put this one up there in this little corner here. Remember, zoom in is Control plus, Control minus for easy zoom in and out. And if you get this close, you can use the arrows here to nudge it those last little steps. So I'm just using the arrows on my keyboard to move it little increments. Okay. So now I'm just going to copy and paste this box. So I'm going to hit Control C, Control V. Got one there. So now I need another guide. So I want this to, the next box to go along here somewhere, but it needs to be a ½ inch in between. Drag this out there, so that's at 4. So I need one at 4½ now. This one will sit right in there. So now I'm just going to use these guides and keep copying and pasting. Control C, Control V. Control C, Control V. These boxes and setting these up a ½ inch apart. So those will just fit in there. Drag this down. We're at 7, so let's go 7½. That one will go right there. Control C, Control V. This one will go right in here. Control C, Control V. This one will go right there. So now all those boxes are set up. Okay, once they're all set up, actually let's do our name here. So our name needs to be an Arial 12-point font. So to use this text tool, I find it the easiest. You can click and just start typing. But I find it easier to click and drag and draw a box. So then you can be sure it's lined up in the right way. So put your basic info, Art 109, Project 01. And then when you're done typing in this box, just click Escape. And that will then allow you, so then to move this around, you're going to have to use your selection tool, click right on the text in order to move it. And then once I get close, I'll just use those arrows so it lines up easier with that. So this needs to be lined up. It needs to be sitting right on top of that first box. If you get this all lined up, you can clear these guides if you don't need them anymore. So that is View, Guides. You can either lock the guides, hide them, or clear them. So lock them, we'll just keep them locked so they don't move. And I'll just clear them because I don't need them anymore. And now within each of these boxes, what does the first box have on it? Let me check Canvas. I think the first box just has... First box is all these different sorts of strokes. So I'm just going to come in here and start drawing these strokes. There's one. And each one of the, I need 10 of them. They all need to be a little bit different. So this one here. This one maybe I want to make this one a little thicker. Change the value of this stroke here. Light gray. Oh, and make sure as you draw these right now, my fill is on this. It has a white fill. So click on that fill and turn that off. Now it's just a stroke. Okay. Do a couple more. So maybe now I want to do some of these changes to have a different sort of line in there. So I'll have a thick to thin line. Maybe make it a little thicker. Maybe make this a little bit darker. Okay. Have another one along the top here. Oops. Make that a little... sometimes you have to click right on the stroke itself to get these different settings up here. So right on the stroke, make it a little thicker. And these are some of those options I showed you in one of the previous videos. Come down here, come down to this library, artistic ink. And then we'll try this weird stroke here. Okay. So that should work. Another note is if you find you accidentally are selecting your box or you're accidentally selecting your type and you no longer want to select those, you can come down here to your layers, this symbol. If it's not down here, it's under Window, Layers. And this will display everything that you've created so far. So far I've created a bunch of rectangles you can see here and some paths. So if I click on this, it then highlights with this little blue dot what's selected. And if I want to lock this so it doesn't get messed up, you can click this box right here. So now I can no longer move this text around. I can no longer accidentally select it. Same with this box here. I can click right on here And this little blue dot indicates which one is selected. And I can click that lock symbol. So I might just do that for all these rectangles. Click that one. See the blue dot right there. This one. Click the lock symbol. Click on this one. Blue dot. Lock symbol. This one. Blue dot. Lock symbol. This last one. Lock symbol. So that will just make it easier to draw those different things in these boxes. So you're not accidentally moving them or selecting them. So all of these are locked, which is now nice. So this is this layers panel, which we'll end up using a lot. Okay, so then what is supposed to be in the next box? Rectangles. So I'll come here, I'll just draw a few rectangles. And each one, now as you do it, should have a different fill. So maybe some of them have a light gray fill. So that could work for the first one. Start another one. So some of these you should come and put a weird stroke around it. So down here again, artistic. Let's try the calligraphic ones. I like these textured ones, the chalk. So now I have a nice textured stroke around there and a fill in there. And I'll just keep creating a few different varieties of boxes. For the boxes, you probably, if you get 7 of them, that should be enough. Okay, I just want to see that you know how to do all these different settings. And just one note, when you get down here to the box that does the pen tool, make sure I can clearly see a shape that has both straight edges on it and then goes to curve. So remember, to curve, you click, hold, and drag. Straight edges is just a single click. Okay, and the same thing here. So this shape, I can see curves on it and I can see straight edges. That's the main thing. Okay. So you just keep going, filling up these boxes with different things and go from there. I'll have 1 or 2 more videos showing you how to save it and then also how to add a pattern fill. Actually, I'll just show you now. So how do you add a pattern fill? Go over to properties. You go to fill. And then you go down here to patterns, basic graphic dots. So any of these, you can click these arrows along here. These are all different patterns that you can use. They're just basic black and white patterns. So any of those should be good. So use some of these for the fills on the different shapes that you create. If you can't find your properties, I think you can get to it up here. Yeah, so you can also get to it up here. Go down here, go to patterns, basic graphics. Any of these black and white ones should work. So that's your pattern fill. So do that on all of the or not all of the shapes, but so some of the rectangles should have a pattern fill, some of the ellipses, and some of the polygons as well. All right, again, there will be 1 or 2 more videos to help you finish this off, but that's almost everything you will need to finish this project.